It's the Talk of Nelson. Talk Nelson Radio. Sport. The Mako Rugby Roundup.
You're with the Mako Rugby Roundup, and it's time for our very special guest. It's a pleasure to welcome Martyn Vercoe to our podcast. Martyn was the Mako team manager between 2014 and 2020, including our two NBC Premiership victories. In 2021, he took over as Chiefs team manager, and from 2016 also served as the team manager for the New Zealand under-20s. And Marty, firstly, congratulations on a fantastic, successful tour with the under-20s New Zealand team with the Oceania Championship in Australia, and wins over Fiji, Argentina and Australia. How does this group of young men stack up for our next generation?
Yeah, thanks. It's a pleasure to be on with you guys today. The results I suppose speak for themselves, and the great work the players and the coaches and all the other staff put into our campaign. I suppose at the start of the campaign I was sort of grappling a bit to work out the relative strength of this cohort that we had compared to previous years. But one thing sort of stuck with me was the depth of the group. There wasn't so much stars dotted throughout the group, but I think that's testament to this group, and I think this group should provide real depth to NBC and super teams in the coming years, so I think that bodes really well for New Zealand rugby.
Marty, how lovely to hear your voice. Great to have you on the show. A legend of Mako Rugby, 7 years with us, a wonderful team manager and just a good bloke on and off the park around us. Mate, 5 Tasman players in your tour party. So you had Noah Hotham and Macca Springer, who played all 3 games, and then you had Monu Molly, Nick Fakena and Viliama Napa'a in the squad also. So my basic question is, how did they handle it all on and off the field for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, firstly, massive ups to the development program at Tasman Rugby. In my tenure with the New Zealand 20s, I actually can't remember, having more than 1 or 2 players at best, per campaign in the New Zealand 20s. I think maybe Will Jordan and Tima Whainuklu were with us in 2017 in Georgia, but that's probably the most we've ever had, so it's a bit of a record, so that's awesome. And also to have Macca coming out of Waimea College and Monu and Vili out of Marlborough Boys shows the pathway system is working. You can go to a less fancy rugby school and still make those national teams, which is great. They were all great teammates. As you said, Macca, Noah, demanded starting spots and were really good. And I think, Monu for me was a big mover in our 20s campaign. He played a lot more game time. He probably went as the 7th front rower, so that's really good for him. He got a little bit of a ding against Australia in the last game to his knee, so hopefully, he gets back sooner rather than later with that. And Vili and Nick, the experience at that level will be awesome for their development, and it showed the level they can get to. It should be great part of their careers and their development.
Marty, Les tells me this is your last stint as manager of the under-20s. So what happens now? Is it going to be mainly concentrating on the Chiefs role?
Yeah, my last tour of duty with the 20s, was a great way that everybody banded together. It was a great finish. The New Zealand 20s will always be a massive part of my career, like Tasman was, and and opened up so many on and off field experiences around the globe. We had some fun over the years, and with the 20s program reverting back to its old format with a World Cup every year, it sort of means it cuts into super season, and obviously my Chiefs commitments are a priority. I really enjoy my role with the Chiefs and want to give that 110%, and I really want to win a super title with the Chiefs, so that's a real priority. As well, I'm really lucky my wife and family have settled really well. They live in Cambridge, we live in Cambridge, and they've got their own sports and interests and really enjoy supporting the team I'm involved with, and I can't speak highly enough about my first 2 seasons with the Chiefs. It's an awesome bunch of players, coaches, HB staff, the wider organisation, so really lucky to be part of that. We'll really miss being part of a New Zealand team, but hopefully in the near future, if it works around my Chiefs commitments, hopefully I can get into another New Zealand team at some stage.
And you have a couple of Mako men there at the Chiefs, big fan of Alex Nankivell and also Atu Moli. So how do they fit in with the Chiefs' mana there and culture?
Yeah. Well, as everybody knows in Tasman, they're top lads, and they're a big part of our chief setup. Nank has played, valuable and big minutes for us over the last few years, and off-field, he's a bit of a pulse of our social committee, which is so important in a long super season, and really vital to the vibe of the place. And, Artu, everybody knows his qualities, and, he's part of our leadership group at the Chief. There's been a vital, voice for some of the younger players who he helps mentor up there. And, he leads things like our haka, and he leads in his quite, powerful way that he has since he was a schoolboy. I remember teaching him way back when at Marlborough Boys, and, he hasn't changed and is a massive part of Chiefs. So really proud that those two are, pillars of our Chiefs environment.
So, Marty, 7 years, as we mentioned, with the Mako. I guess you often run into other Mako players and coaches while you're travelling around the circuit for Super Rugby. What's it like when you catch up with everybody?
It's great, mate. You definitely catch up with some of the coaches for a wee brew, a coffee before games, and and you catch up with players and stuff like that. And it's really quite powerful and meaningful to see where they're going in their careers. Especially some of the lads that have managed to make it to the main All Black side and stuff like that. It's just awesome. And Tasman's very special to me. It really helped shape me. We played in some big matches in my time there, and some big pressure moments and matches. So, it helps you understand what mindset and processes you need, to bring to those things. But I owe my career to the Mako. Without all the quality people, players, staff, with there, you wouldn't be at the point of my career now where you can enjoy their company, at super level and above. So, it's a really fond memories of those 7 seasons.
And do you catch any of those players you run into, do you catch them out for not carrying their Mako coin, Marty?
Well, actually, yes, mate, that's a really painful one for me at the moment, because let's just say after our final game against Australia, I was one of only 6 former or present Mako men that didn't have his coin on the Sunshine Coast. So, my savings hit a bit of a bubble there, but always, as Clark Dermody, my old friend, used to always say, we need to get a tattoo, but it might have been a cheaper option for me in the long run.
Yeah, indeed. So, looking back on that Mako period of play, right? Lots of super players have come out of the team, including a number of All Blacks, and of course those 2 premierships of 2019 and 2020. So I just wanted to ask you about some of the people that were in those squads. So from your perspective, Marty, the toughest player you had in a Mako squad? Well,
these questions, I think they're going to be pretty tough. It's R18, is it? I'm not sure.
Go for it.
Yeah, toughest player. Good question. Jeez. Especially early in my tenure, you had the likes of Alex Ainley, Liam Squire, Jordan Taufua, Jimmy Cowan. They all come to mind, both physically and mentally really tough players. And then recently, you've got guys like Sione Havili. But actually, I can think of one player really does stick out to me, that's Shane Christie. He was ruthless as a player and really good as a coach with that mentality as well, being really ruthless and on, and he never took a backward step. I even look back to some of the games that we actually got tipped up in, like the 2-14, 16, 17 finals. That's not nice to say, rolls off the tongue too quick. And maybe our semi-final in 2-15 when we got tipped up, and he kept us in those games. They would have been, we would have been away second if it wasn't for him, but his relentless efforts in those games and some other big games where we didn't quite make it, it was always him that kept us in games. So, Shane Christie for me, I think.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent selection on your part there. Shane Christie absolutely epitomises toughness, both on the field and also that mindset of just wanting to win. Now, our Mako values are pretty strong, and players really enjoy being around each other. They have a great time. But who amongst us epitomises the Mako values and standards the most in your mind?
Oh, I'm going to lose some friends here. You're stitching me up here, Les. But that's, again, a great question, eh? One that's hard to answer with just one player. But, I mean, again, early in my tenure, Tavita Kulamatangi, Vernon Fredericks come to mind. Andrew Goodman, both as a player, as a coach, again, emphasise all those values. I could go on and on. There's a big list. But I suppose for me, probably somebody like Ethan Blackadder, just a great man both on and off the field. Worked really, really hard at his craft. It didn't come easy for him. And just his humility, what the team and the province means to him, I think it'd have to be Ethan.
Yeah, I think you're dead right there. He's had some bad injuries over his time, but he always turns up. He's always there. He's helping coach lineouts, or he's just helping you out, or helping anybody who needs a hand. And to my way of thinking, his humility is absolutely awesome. He's just one of the men, and no airs and graces with Ethan.
100%. He's the type of guy that you'll want to be part of an organisation because he's in it. So yeah, great man.
Now, we've had a lot of great attacking play in the Mako lineup over your 7 years. But who, in your mind, was the most creative player you had that you managed?
Mate, this is harder than a university exam. Well, we
are fanatics, so we want to know what's going on.
Yeah. Mate, I'm loving it. It actually winds back the clock. Jeepers. I always rank somebody like Andrew McAleo as a special player who could make things happen, but oh man, there's so many coming to mind. Like J-Lo scored some great tries, obviously in the Irish team now. I mean, you can't go too far past Marty Banks. He was a cold hero, especially early on. These days, Finn Christie, Mitch Hunt, they drove us to 2 premiership wins. Actually, one that I don't think can be matched for a winning, creativity. Like he won us a few games by himself, would have to be Will Jordan. I think, he brought an X factor that we'd never seen before in a Mako jumper, and probably, when he got to the top of his game with the Mako was around about 219. And we only really had him for a season when he was at his best, and that's the year we won, when we had pretty much a Rolls-Royce team at 219.
Yeah, undefeated, 12 games.
Yeah, so it'd have to be Will, I think, in terms of pure creativity and just X factor would be Will Jordan, I think.
Yeah, he's got that amazing ability, vision, if you like, to see what's happening in front of him and downfield, and his kick and chase and regathers. We saw that for the Mako before he did it for the All Blacks against Ireland.
We knew what was coming, didn't we?
Yeah. I was probably a bit harsh on him because I said, he really hit his straps at 219. He was actually awesome right from the start. And the great thing is, I'm saying all these names, and when you say them, you smile because they're real, good people off the field as well, and real mischiefs and characters. So awesome.
Yeah, and lastly, the best all-round Mako player you had around you.
Oh wow, mate!
Look, Marty, there's absolutely no pressure,
Wow.
And no one's listening.
No.
Wow, phew. I suppose, been lucky to work with over 100, great Mako men. We were in the 80s, I think, and we're up to 200 when I left. So really hard to single out a few. In terms of best all-round Mako, that I've managed, I suppose, that you really enjoyed managing. I always enjoyed the lads that flattered across the road in my years. They're always, up to something. The likes of Nanks, Quinny, Hunty, Red. Tim O'Malley, who came through the Blenheim rank, was always a bit of a fave. I used to call him fave as well, and tell him that a key to good leadership is not having favourites. But, he was just an awesome personality, and his banter, was always R18, but good fun. I suppose I always had a soft spot for David Havili. He probably would be my best ever Mako to manage. He debuted the same day as me, which is always special. That guy got rinsed every ounce of rugby out of himself. Always got the best out of himself. And his love and his care for his fellow Mako and the organisation, second to none. And seeing him when he played his 50th, for example, we towed up Auckland, which was special, in Lansdowne Park back in 2019, and the raw emotion and him getting his Mako blazer from somebody like Andrew Goodman and what it meant to him with his family there, that for me is a real Mako man. So it'd have to be probably Davey H, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I recall, of course, the 2020 Premiership when we went up to Auckland, and Auckland were absolute favourites. And David, and we lost Mitchell Hunt, early, 15 minutes into the game. And David Havili basically willed that victory for us, both sides of the ball. He basically took the ball on attack and did what he had to do and defended so well, and that premiership was as close to I've seen of one guy just willing a victory out of himself.
Yeah, 100% correct, mate. Like his leadership skills, we wouldn't have got there without him. So yeah, great man. You know, let's hope he plays really well for the All Blacks in the coming weeks.
Yeah, he's got a gig tomorrow in the 12 jersey, so we're looking forward to watching him run around for sure. Marty, always a pleasure to catch up with you. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. I really appreciate the candidness, but also appreciate being able to put you on the spot and being a bit cheeky with you as I do.
Yeah, that's, you know, we've had great banter over the years, and just a big shout out to everybody back at Tasman Rugby. You know, still really fond in my heart, and I wish everybody really well for the upcoming finals and the Tasman Trophy and Community Rugby and Junior Rep program and the Mako FBC as well. So, yeah, give it all, everybody.
Great, thanks, Marty. Been a pleasure. Thanks very much.
Fins up, Marty.
Fins up. Bye now.
There we go. Martyn Vercoe. Congratulations to him with the New Zealand under-20s. They've all been pretty successful, haven't they? You know, that's the legacy that he's left there.
Yeah, and his human qualities are just perfect for a manager. So Marty's really interested in having a lot of fun. But he's got a steel in his backbone too, so that when a player gets out of line, they know right. They know who the boss is.
You know it.
Yeah.
When you get that stare.
But he's part of the reason why people love. Well, he and his successor Stu Hunter are part of the reason why the players like to come here, because there is that nice balance of lightness and having fun, and then getting down to the hard work. And good managers can do that. So Marty's had a great career, and I could imagine his goal. He didn't say it, but his goal may well be to be the All Blacks manager.
Fantastic. There you go, Martyn Vercoe, New Zealand under-20s and Chiefs manager.
The Mako Rugby Roundup. Talk Nelson Radio. It's the talk of Nelson.